In this lesson, we're going to continue going over relighting techniques. So let's stay here on this environment comp, and let's also mention that I lowered the amount of the spec relight from the last lesson to 40% instead of 100. So we're going to be using the preset that we created called cheap relight along with our normals. So let's look for our normals. And then what we're going to do with the cheap relight is enhance, add a bit more fake light, add a bit more light to these pieces of geo that are facing in different directions. So let's take our environment normal, set it to, in this case, overlay. Let's try something different. I jump between soft light and overlay when using the cheap relight. So let's start moving this till we find something that looks good. And till we find something that looks, and let's keep moving this. And what I found looked good to us was 346, which it's almost the same as doing -12. So that gives us a nice, so that gives us the appearance that there's light hitting these pieces of geometry that are facing upwards. So let's also use our matte for the psych here. Since we only want to be using this for the pieces of geo, let's take that and set it to an alpha matte. So right now we're only affecting those areas. And one more thing is to take this and let's just create a rough, actually let's use a regular, let's create a rough garbage matte around this. So we're only affecting the rocks here. Same deal over here. Now if we take those two mattes and set our feather amount to 200 and compare that on and off, you will see how we're getting some nice hits of light on our pieces of geo. So really cool trick. Now another thing we want to do is add the appearance of interactive lighting. That means that this chamber that has this bright orange liquid should be casting some sort of orangish light on the floor. So for that, once again, let's take our normals pass. Let's see if I can find it here. And let's pre-compose it. And let's call this contact lighting. Leave that. And once again, let's use normality. For that, let's create a light. Actually, not a solid, a light. In this case, it's going to be an orange color. And we're going to have to move it until we find the position that works for us. In order to avoid all that trial and error, I already have the coordinates here. And also, let's not forget to enable our preblur here of 1%. Turn off the shading. We're only going to be using specular this time. And another thing I did was to invert the Y. Now the plugin also has the option to invert all of these channels. So in this case, I inverted the Y. So in this case, I inverted the Y just to get lighting on the ground. And let's tweak the amount of specularity. 1.4. So it's a soft, small spread. And then let's take that light duplicate it once more for the chamber on the other side. And for our position, we're going to enter these coordinates. And there we go. Now we have our fake contact lighting happening. Now there's too much on the center of the image. So we're going to do the same thing we did for our spec relight. Let's take this matte from here and paste it over here. And perhaps let's extend that a little more. And there we go. And let's not forget to take our occlusion also and multiply it on top for the areas that should not have any light. Let's see how that looks. Great. Now let's look at our comp here. And let's make sure that it's set to add. And great. Now you see how we're getting a bit of contact lighting in that area. Very effective. If it's too noticeable, we can also tone it down 50%, maybe 65. Not bad. Turn that on and off. Very subtle. Great. Now let's take all of these relights that we did and just color code them. Possibly a red, so they're easy to identify. So in this lesson, we looked again at more techniques for doing relighting using normality. We use at the specular section of the plugin, and along with a couple of lights to create contact lighting, and also we used again our chip relight in combination with mattes.